Yo, hey guys, in today's video I just wanted to talk about meditation versus psychedelics. Now this isn't so much a competition to say which one's better than the other, because at the end of the day, at least in my personal opinion, meditation should be something that every single one of us should do on a daily basis. Like, even if it is 5 minutes a day. Now, there's a lot of these spiritual teachers and gurus and Buddhist monks, and most of them, or at least many of them, are super against any psychedelic substance, or drugs in general. And many of these belief systems are actually completely opinion-based, because they're, instead of actually having a direct experience with psychedelics from themselves, which is the only way you can get access to truth, right, is through direct experience, they cling on to ideologies and dogma. So, now, while psychedelics and meditation, there are two separate things that can get you to a very similar state of consciousness. Some would argue that they're completely different, and some would say that they can get you in an identical mystical experience. There was even a Johns Hopkins study that concluded that psilocybin can actually induce mystical experiences, that which marks many similarities of the spontaneous mystical experiences people have been reporting for centuries. Now, the only thing with meditation though, especially in this day and age, with the average Joe, is that meditation is a little bit like child's play, and you are kind of dipping your toes into water, while psychedelics push you in and you're forced to kind of jump in and deal with all these things that you need to deal with, whether you like it or not. And that's the beauty about psychedelics, because psychedelics can get you that breakthrough experience that might take psychotherapy 10 years. Now, yes, of course, if you're consistent with your meditation, you can get amazing gains. But if you tell the average Joe, or someone like with clinical depression, let's say, to meditate every day, how long do you think that person is going to be consistent for until they get this life-changing experience, so that they get a huge positive change for themselves and to others? Most people are going to quit. And it's sad, but it's true. Like, if you're disciplined enough to meditate every single day, do it. Maybe you don't need psychedelics, but you'll never know until you try it yourself. Because there's a lot of people who come up with all these excuses. They're excuses. They say, oh, I don't need psychedelics because meditation can get you to that state of consciousness. But it's like, how do you know if you don't try it yourself? You know, I was talking to this girl at Rainbow Serpent last weekend, and she's like super against drugs, right? Especially psychedelics, which is ironic because psychedelics are the only drugs she hasn't tried. Go figure, right? Anyways, she was speaking to me like she's got like a lot of problems, a lot of issues. She has issues like forgiving herself, and she's constantly having all these negative thoughts and blah blah blah. And it's funny because I tell her the facts about psilocybin, but obviously she just completely blocks herself.
People who hold that these psychedelic substances have no application have very little actual personal experience with them. It's the old story of my mind is made up, don't confuse me with facts.
And yeah, it's just funny that she says, oh, you can get there with meditation, but it's like, how's that working for you? How long is it actually going to take you to get that breakthrough change that psychedelics can give you in one session? I mean, if you were to find yourself stranded on an island and you had to swim your way back home, I mean, yeah, you could swim your way back home. It would take a while, but wouldn't you much rather use like a raft or a boat or something? Because that's what psychedelics are, right? They're useful instruments and tools to help us. They're a booster. And in the end of the day, they do come from nature, and nature is giving these tools to us for a reason. So I don't know why so many people are so stubborn and so against psychedelics. Now, if this was 2,000 years ago, then we wouldn't need psychedelics as much as we do in today's society. Because in today's society, you've got this constant stimulation, all this bullshit that gets shoved down our throats. on a daily basis. Like, did you know that every single piece of content that was ever made from the ages of the dinosaurs up to the year 2003 is now being duplicated every 48 hours? Just try and think of the magnitude of how much freaking stimulation there is in today's society. I'm sorry, but I just don't think that telling everybody in the world to meditate every day is really going to cut it. Especially because most people, I would say less than 1% are actually committed enough to do the work. Now, like I said, this isn't a competition to say which one's better, and you should definitely meditate every day, regardless whether you do whether you take psychedelics or not. But these two tools actually complement each other really, really well. Let's say if you were to give psychedelics to a person operating on a really low consciousness state, right? They're in a survival mode and it's victim mentality, and they're just going from instant gratification to the next, and that's just how they live their life. If you were to give them a high dose of psychedelic, I mean, yeah, it would expand their consciousness, but only to a certain level. Whereas if you meditate every single day and keep expanding your consciousness on a daily basis, the next time you do a psychedelic trip, it's going to be a much richer experience, and you're going to go a lot deeper, and you're going to get a lot deeper insights, right? And it's just going to be a better overall experience because you're doing the work. Now, if you're one of those people who haven't tried a psychedelic because meditation can get you to that level, I would suggest actually even just trying a low dose and finding out for yourself. You know, I just doubt with meditation you're going to deal with like these huge traumatic events that we've been bottling in our whole lives the way a psychedelic can. I just don't think that meditation is as efficient at curing a lot of these severe mental illnesses like clinical depression the way something like ayahuasca could. And I don't think there's a comparison to the two. So it depends what you're looking for, but just don't come up with these bullshit excuses that you shouldn't try psychedelics, you know, because a monk told you to, even though that monk most likely haven't even had a psychedelic experience. And you know, it's really interesting because a lot of Buddhist monks admit that it was their first psychedelic experience that inspired them to pursue their path. And this is pretty consistent among a lot of psychedelic users, that they find themselves wanting to deepen their spiritual practice and try other things, right? Like meditation. I mean, I would have never meditated. No way if I didn't have a psychedelic experience. No way. Man. Like, you guys don't even want to know the person I was before I had these experiences, man. Fuck. Like, I was just the most... Like, I was a psychopath. I was narcissistic. I was super selfish, egocentric, really closed-minded, and like all these things. And psychedelics just completely changed my life for the better. But yeah, guys, so recap. Meditation is something that we should all do on a daily basis, but I think in today's day and age, psychedelics is going to be a lot more effective in expanding our consciousness and self-development work. And you know, my opinion is based from what I've studied and also just from my own life experience and what I've seen personally. Psychedelics do get you on those higher states of consciousness a lot quicker. It is not a shortcut, of course, and you should obviously integrate the lessons that you learn. And psychedelics and meditation complement each other so well, and they're just great allies. And if you've ever meditated whilst on a psychedelic trip, man, that's like other level shit. But yeah, guys, that's me. Let us know your thoughts on this subject. Like, do you think that psychedelics and meditation get you to like a similar state of consciousness, or do you think that just completely two separate things? But anyways, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.